Hello all you World of Tanks fans out there, it's Ace Dombach here, back again with another commentary video. Today here I'll be discussing the Tier 9 Chinese medium tank, the WZ-120. Now the WZ-120 is a really fun tank, I really enjoy playing it. As for all the mediums go, it's very unique in some of its senses, and at the same time too it also brings some very cool and interesting aspects to the game. The Chinese tanks are brawlers. They're very similar and more so similar to the Russian Soviets T-54, and they're designed to be played up close, up in the enemy's faces, and just brawling and duking it out at close quarters combat. The gun that I'm sporting here on this one, there's two guns you can use on the WZ-120 that are comparable. I'm using the 100mm 62, very good gun. It sports a decent rate of fire, 7.32 rounds a minute, respectable. Average penetration values, even for the gold shells, and the damage on it's okay. So, as for a gun, a medium type gun, this is a traditional medium gun. Decent rate of fire, average penetration values, and average damage, and so you're able to burn down targets really quickly using that ability of maneuver and stuff. Now, if you're looking at the armor values on the tank, 100 armor on the hull, and 220 on the turret. The armor's angled, so the armor value is going to be a little bit better than that, but generally speaking, this is a Type 59. So what you're going to want to do is fight so close to your opponent that the only real targets they have to shoot at is your turret. That extra 220 turret armor and the way that turret's rounded shaped, it's really difficult to pen the turret. The only place that's on the turret where you can really pen these type of vehicles is this copula area up here. Really easy to pen that target up there, maybe even so sometimes up here. But I've noticed that, generally speaking, this is the weak point on the turret. So whenever you engage targets, try to protect that accordingly. Turn your turret, angle your turret when you're in close in between reloads. That's what I do. So you're going to want to get in real close and duke it out and brawl with the vehicle up close. Since I do not have the 122mm unlocked yet, unfortunately I'm not going to be able to show, I don't have a game yet I can actually show you guys in the 122mm. But what I can tell you about this gun is that it is pretty much the identical to the IS-4's main cannon, and from what I've heard. So let's just take a look here at this gun and then compare it here to the IS-4's, which is a big deal. I mean, the fact that it's got a gun that's probably comparable to a tier 10, if not better, that's a big difference. So let's take a look here and see. It looks like the IS-4's got a little bit better penetration in terms of the standard AP shell, but if you're using premium shells on it, which I would recommend at tier 9, you're going to get the same amount of penetration, and the damage is comparable, the accuracy is comparable, and the only thing that's really you're going to see a difference is that the aim time for the WZ is a little bit longer. So there you have it. For the most part, it's pretty much identical, and very, very powerful gun to have on a medium. The alpha on the Chinese tanks is ridiculous, and in many senses they are alpha tanks. And by alpha tank I mean, as I've discussed in the past videos I've done, you're going to want to use that. There's a strength in being able to do the damage of 2 shots in just 1 shot. But the problem is you have a long reload, and so there's a decent amount of time where you're exposed. So if you're going to be using that 122mm, I'm going to recommend that you play a little bit more conservatively, use those peekaboo tactics a little bit more. But that being said, the rate of fire on that gun for that tier 10 gun is respectable. So not too bad. But enough about the discussion of the stuff. I do actually have a game for you guys today in this tank. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys a little video with it. The things you need to be also mindful of the type of the WZ-120 is that, like Chinese tanks, it is prone to ammo rack. So I really do recommend you guys go ahead and throw that wet ammo rack on that tank. Right now the current setup I'm using is with a rammer, a vertical stabilizer for movement shots, and the wet ammo rack. My crew right now does not have the ability for safe stowage just yet. I went with situational awareness. This is which is probably not the best of choices for this vehicle. But that being said, situational awareness is a skill, and that's probably why I have it in place right now, is because it's a skill I can get that benefit immediately, whereas safe stowage is a perk, and I need to be at full 100% to actually get the benefit of that. So, nonetheless, I recommend also going with safe stowage on it as soon as you can, and that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the game here and take a look at the WZ in action with that 100mm gun. Okay, so here we are on, I believe the map's called Live Oaks. I'm a little rusty on my map names, but this is that American map they added in a couple patches back, and they've updated it a few times. But it's supposed to be like the American settings. I'm sure you guys are all familiar and played with it. But enough about the map. This map is really, really interesting because there's essentially, again, two fields of area of fighting. There's this lower area down here, which is predominantly, I'd say, more for mediums and fast movers, and even TDs can do well down here simply because it's really hard to outflank targets. The rail system provides kind of two sides of combat. Most of it's centered around these two bridges. And then up here in the north, which is where usually most of the heavies will do their combat and stuff. As a medium, you can also see where my ally One Fist is going, One V Fist. There is good spots to spot around these buildings here, so if you want to get side shots on these tanks as they enter into the city, taking up positions in these sideways buildings is a great tactic to do as a medium vehicle, but generally speaking, I would save that for more accurate tanks and stuff. The WZ does lack in gun depression, so you're going to want to fight vehicles up close and personal, on terrain where you can engage closely. And the problem with it not having depression is you're going to have to expose yourself needlessly sometimes to get the shots that you want to. But even at full speed, I'm able to really get those good and accurate shots in on most of the targets I'm facing. So as I approach this kind of like ridge line, we've taken that center bridge. I look and I see that there's a Pershing, a Lorraine, and probably several more vehicles back there, and they're in great position. I know that Pershing has excellent gun depression, is able to fire from hills. That's what the tank's strong suit is. So I see these like swampy kind of trees, and I try really hard to get that angle, to get the depression, to get that shot, but it's very difficult. I have to expose myself almost completely to even get set up in a position where I can actually engage targets. And there we go, we spotted another T-69, and I let off a shot there and miss. But there's a lot of tanks here lined up on this ridge line. As you can see, even that T-54 E-112 depressed. So I gotta play really carefully. I just gotta be able to try to burn down the targets that are the biggest threat to me. And those two autoloaders are definitely the ones I'm most concerned about. So now at this point, I start to see that the tanks have retreated a bit down the line, so I'm going to try to rush in a little bit close and close the distance. And we're getting in here, and then boom, thank you, guardsman, with another nice clutch arty kill. I mean, and sometimes those are key. With that Pershing gone, now we can focus our attention on the other vehicles. And these two autoloaders are the biggest threat to me. But they also have support, and that's something you really have to be careful of. I'm trying to rush in real fast here and finish off this T-69 while he's reloading. But I'm taking fire from several angles. I'm getting hit from that Type 59, and now that 69's loaded, I do repair my track, but in the process of doing so, I do get ammo racked. And now I'm suffering a longer reload, which is going to make it really hard for me to burn down these targets. And even with the wet ammo rack, you can see this tank is really prone to that problem, so you got to really be careful with it. But even though I've got that long reload, I'm still going to fight. I'm still going to put pressure on my opponent where I can. So I engage that Lorraine, remembering I'm staying focused on the targets that are the bigger threat to me. And with that T-44 there, he's still got a decent HP pool. So I try to get a shot here, but he still pens me. I'm just taking too much shots here. So at this point, with that Type 59, I know that's in the back there, and that T-44 in that good position. It's unwise for us to go around there and engage. This Type is really low in HP. We really can't fight that T-44 up close and personal like that. So I tell him we need to fall back and regroup and maybe get a different angle of approach. And that's when I see my scout buddy, the T-71, 1V Fist, getting in there to engage that T-44. And this is one of those points where I didn't want to come over the top here. I wanted to let the T-30 and the T-29 get in closer, but Fisk got in there real close, real quickly, so I felt like this was the opportunity for me to get in there, and using him kind of as a distraction to get in there and finish off these targets. I also wanted to try to help save his life, but, I mean, he got in there so quickly, and with those two fast mediums, we all know mediums just make mincemeat out of lights. So, with that slow reload, I'm playing it very slowly, very peekaboo, very much more meticulous. And if you guys are going to be rocking that 122mm on that on this tank, I would really recommend playing very similarly to how I am playing now with this long reload. Just getting in, getting those shots when you need to, and finishing off the targets with that big alpha gun. Just be very careful, though. That without that depression, it's going to make it very difficult for you to engage targets at distances comfortably without exposing yourself to both artillery and to other enemy tanks. So after that, the other two, M103 and the T-29, are both kind of situated back in the city there, and with our teams clustered around there, it's not long before we make short work of them. But if we had gone around that corner down there at the south, me and that Type 59 probably would have met our demise to those other two vehicles. So, testament to good teamwork with the artillery and the scouts just coming in clutch times. Just, if anything, maybe good cohesion with your platoon. It really does make a huge difference on your effective fighting force. And just, as I said, this tank's a great brawler. And in closing, I'll kind of give some little recommendations here on my little notes here. Just be careful. It does need that ammo rack. It does suffer from depression, but it has two really good guns to choose from, a high DPM gun as well as that powerful alpha gun. So all around, really, really good platoon tank. So thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll be sure to bring you guys more videos as I make them, and hope you guys enjoy your summer. Take care. Bye.